State of Affairs is pleased to welcome New Jersey's first Lieutenant Governor, the 33rd Secretary of State, elected in 2013, but first time 2010.
No, I was going to say.
Don't worry, I'll get it right. I've interviewed you too many times. That's why we're too familiar.
But not in this context.
Everybody knows who you are. Kim Guadagno's in the house.
There you go.
State of Affairs. How do you like this?
This is beautiful.
Nice,
This
right?
is beautiful.
And
very,
JTV?
very nice. Absolute and convenient.
Right? It's beautiful. Right. You're running for governor.
I am.
Because?
I am running for governor because I think I can do better. I think we need lower taxes, we need to make New Jersey affordable again, and we need to fight for the middle class. And that's me. I'm a working mom. I'm a military mom. I'm a person who's worked in this administration for 8 years and talked to thousands of people over those 8 years, and I know they can't make ends meet, and I think I can help them do that. Let's
get down into some issues that you and I have not talked about before. One of the things we talk about a lot is business. We'll get to that in just a little bit. This pension crisis that you think about a lot, you've been part of this administration for a long time. The governor's made, as part of this, $35 billion?
$35 billion and change.
Okay, so there's a $2.5 billion.
Big change, millions in change.
Yeah, not small change. Yeah. So the governor has proposed a $2.5 billion commitment to pay into this pension fund. That's a big number by anyone's standards. However, this hole in the pension crisis for public employees is huge.
Right.
What would you do right now to close that gap so that New Jersey's fiscal underpinnings would be a lot stronger than it is, and that pension fund is better than it is right now? Because it's horrible.
Well, you know what it is. It's insolvent. So we all know it's insolvent, not because of a Republican problem, not because of a Democrat, or you could say it's because of all of our fault.
Yep.
But it was in that shape when we came in. This administration has made the largest number of payments to the pension. I think it's double whatever the last 5 governors have done. But it's still insolvent, so we need to fix it. So you're right. I'll tell you what I did when I was in the sheriff's office. I'll give you the same conversation to you.
In your previous job?
In my previous job, I was the sheriff. I had 8 labor unions. And the big issue was the pension payment. And the answer I gave to them is, don't believe me, I'm management. Don't believe your labor leaders because they have other interests. Go back to your own accountant and ask your accountant if that pension is going to be there when you retire. And if the answer to the question is no, then let's come back and let's talk about how we fix it. And let's fix it in a way that's acceptable to you, the public pensioner, who's going to have to live with it. So that's the way I would attack it at a 30,000-foot level. I know in Trenton right now they're talking about putting the lottery in it and increasing the value, the asset value from 49% to 65%. I hope they can do that. There's a lot of complicated constitutional issues.
You would agree with the governor on that? The governor says, let's take the lottery funds, put it into that?
I think I think it's a good start.
It's a good start. But it's not, we need to go much further than that. Do you believe that public employees, either those who are in the system right now or those who are coming into the system, that the state should renegotiate those contracts as it relates to health care benefits as well as retirement benefits?
Well, I don't think there's an alternative. This is what's happening right now.
There's no alternative? Phil Murphy sat here and said, absolutely off the table, can't do it. State has to find other revenues. It has to be off the table for now.
He said that this year when he's running for office. When he's
sitting right there.
When he's in the pocket of every special interest group in New Jersey.
What does that mean, in the pocket?
NJEA endorsed him. PBA endorsed him. Name me a special interest that hasn't endorsed him, except for the Chamber of Commerce.
So respectfully, Lieutenant Governor, that doesn't mean being in the pocket to get their endorsement.
Let me answer the first question.
Go ahead.
Let me answer the first question, which is the pension issue, right? If you're being told, if he tells you he can make a full pension payment, which is $5 billion this year, plus or minus some millions.
A lot of money.
A lot of millions. And a $10 billion health care payment this year, that's $15 billion.
Out of a $35 billion budget.
We started with that $35 billion baseline. Just answer one question. Which schools are you going to close? Because you will have to in order to pay for the pension. Or and you still won't have enough money, and which hospitals are you going to close because you're going to have to pay for the pension? It's a toss-up. This is the conversation. This is why I say, when I met with my sheriffs, don't believe management, don't believe labor, go back to your own accountant. If the money's not going to be there when you retire, which is the path we're on now, then let's come back and figure out how to protect the public sector unions who believed they were getting a pension when they signed on. Because you know what's happening? I'm interrupting you again. This, you know what's happening is, right now, we're hiring teachers and telling them there's going to be a pension. We know it's a lie.
Let me ask you something. Whether you got the endorsement of the teachers union or any other public employee union, would you tell them exactly what you're telling them right now?
I have. I screened with the NJEA. I told them exactly the same thing.
Whether you thought you were going to get the endorsement or not, you said the same thing.
I want to sit down and talk to them.
By the way, NJEA is a big supporter of public broadcasting, to fully disclose. You just went and said what you just said.
Absolutely.
Was it a good conversation back and forth?
It was a healthy conversation back and forth. Yeah, sure. Because that's the major problem right now. People need to accept that it's insolvent. They need to accept that we need to fix it.
Insolvent, so everyone understands
that the money's not going to be there when you retire.
Just not going to be there.
Not going to be there. Now, I said 12 years. The Byrne Commission, Healy Commission said 12 years.
You're
that was
talking
2 years
about Tom
ago.
Byrne, Democrat, who headed up the commission.
The bipartisan commission to talk about how we fix this thing. They said 12 years, so that was 2 years ago, so 10 years left. The NJEA, when I was there, was talking like 20. I said, okay, I'll take the middle.
Wow.
Still, the pension's not going to be there. And you're hiring teachers and police officers and career firemen right now, promising them a pension that we know will not be there. And that, to me, is offensive. That should offend everyone. So let's sit down and talk about it. Let's look at the lottery. Let's see if we can't fully fund it. And you know what could happen. The governor's funded, what, I think 2.5. Tom Byrne came out last week and said if we just made some adjustments in the health care, and I'm sure it's more than just some, because it would close the gap, and you could put another 2.2
I want to get to some other issues.
2.2 in. That's $5 billion. That's a full pension payment.
Right.
But they're going to have to negotiate on the back end, the health care side.
Are you going to let me get another question?
No, it's my interview.
Here we go.
We wanted to talk policy.
That's what happens. You got to get into the weeds a little bit. All right, how about this? The school funding situation.
Yeah.
Many communities across the state are saying, you know what? We're getting shortchanged.
Right.
Our property taxes are going through the roof.
Right.
What would you do other than just saying get those communities more money? Because where's that money coming from?
Day one, what I would do.
If you were governor.
There's something, when I become governor, day one, there's something called adjustment aid. There's $560 million, separate from the school funding formula, that we give out to 180 districts in the state of New Jersey every year. $560 million. In two of those districts, Hoboken and Jersey City, we all know they're overfunded. Even they admit.
You mean they get more state aid than they should?
They get more state aid than they should. I would zero out that money right now.
I mean, give them nothing?
No. The adjustment aid.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Adjustment aid. Day one. This is a long-term fix.
Got
but
it.
Day one, I would take that adjustment aid and right-size it. All of the overfunded groups in that pocket, I would take that money and put it in the underfunded. And we all know where the underfunded is. Talk to anybody. So the problem we have in New Jersey is the following. It's pretty simple. You got kids going to school up in Phillipsburg in trailers for 30 years. And they're an Abbott district, or a formerly Abbott district. 30 years,
they're
these kids, well, forget being rich, they're kids. They're learning algebra. Right. For 30 years, they're going into classrooms in trailers, while exactly at the same time, in another town in Monmouth County, you got AstroTurf on a football field, and you have state-of-the-art aquatic center. That tells you everything you need to know.
There's no equality.
Well,
there's no equity.
It's you need to right-size it.
All right, let's try this. Getting the economy of the state back on track, you say?
It's on track.
Improving our economy.
No, it's on track. We started at 9.8%.
In terms of unemployment?
Unemployment. We're now at 4.4%, which is 4 points, depending on what day it is, below the national average. And we have more people working in New Jersey today than the national average. How much more on track do you want to get?
You don't like the idea of renovating the State House, do you?
I hate the idea of renovating the State House.
But the governor says we need to do that, and a lot of people go down to the State House, go, look at this place.
Well, I don't have to always agree with everything the governor says.
I didn't say you did, but on this particular issue, people look at it and they go, you know what? This is not commensurate with the state of New Jersey and what we should have.
I understand that completely, and so let's fix what we have to fix. But it's like you. Do you fix your home if you don't have the money to fix it?
You don't think it's a high enough priority?
It's not a priority. It's a mixed-up priority, and I'll tell you why. Because that State House is going to cost $300 million to renovate. I'm not quite sure where they're getting the numbers, and I'm not quite sure where they're getting the money to pay for that. But set all that aside, we have the highest foreclosure rate in the country. We have 1 million people going to bed at night, every night in New Jersey, not knowing where their next meal is coming from. Is renovating the State House the first item on your agenda?
Would it be yours?
Renovating the State House? No, it
Top
stopped
5,
right away.
top 10?
No.
Couple more. What would you say, the Trump administration on health care?
Yes.
They passed on this. They did not pass the repeal and replace.
Right.
You know they're going to try it again. Are
Right.
they on the right track doing that?
Well, let me tell you a conversation I had with a congressman who will go nameless,
A Republican or Democrat?
a Republican, who...
In the delegation?
Yeah, in New Jersey,
Go ahead.
who, the conversation I had with him as he was on his way to the inauguration, I said, so what are you going to do on day one with Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Minute and a half left. Go
He
ahead.
said, we're going to defund it. I said, great, let me tell you what happens next. In New Jersey, 530,000 people are suddenly without health care. And because we cut charity care in response to the expanded Affordable Care Act, the hospitals will fall in on themselves because everybody will now go to the hospitals. There's no charity care for those hospitals, and we will lose insurance for 530,000 people in New Jersey. Totally unacceptable. Find another plan.
The president's on the wrong track on this, isn't he?
On that one, I don't think it's on any track right now, as far as I can see.
If they get back on.
Well, what they have to do is fix the business, either change it all up, repeal and replace, and take care of those 530,000.
You didn't vote for Donald Trump, did you?
I did not vote for Donald Trump.
Not a fan?
I campaigned for Donald Trump because there's two people here, right? I'm the leader of my party as a Republican, and I'm a woman who...
Last question.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. The woman who...
Who believed that he had crossed the line on some of the things.
Got it. Number one leadership lesson you have learned in your life that you would bring into the governorship. 30 seconds left.
The number one leadership is to close the loop. I've read that somewhere before. Right? I do my homework.
Close the loop? Are you trying to say you're quoting from my book, Lessons in Leadership?
I think I am.
Are you trying to...
Yeah.
It's working. So, listen, Lieutenant Governor, we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Wish you and all the candidates running for governor the best.
Thank you.
On State of Affairs.
We'll see you again?
Thank you. Okay. Yes, thank
Good.
you. See you next time on State of Affairs.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey Resources, the law firm of Gibbons PC, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, NJM, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey.